What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Lewis. Happy Vlogmas 2024. Just to catch you up, if this is the very first video that you're watching in December, I am shooting a video every single day, December 1st through the 25th. So sorry, not shooting, uploading a video every day, December 1st through the 25th, as a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Thank you for the support for over all these years that we've been on YouTube. And it's not been easy. It has been extremely difficult to come up with 25 different ideas for videos and shoot them and edit them and upload them and somehow respond to as many comments as possible. So I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate it. And I don't need anything in return, maybe a subscribe. I think it'd be great if you hit that subscribe button. We're on the way to 50,000 subscribers. So with that out of the way, I just want to say that today's video is about the things I wish I knew before transitioning from one-handed to two-handed, but also some of the things that I've learned since transitioning from one-handed to two-handed. Real quick, coolwick.com, promo code Napoles10, that gets you 10% off your entire order. And there's a bunch of different things on there. It's not just jerseys. They have t-shirts, backpacks, a bunch of different things. Napoles10. Also down below in the description, there's a link where you can order my chamois or the ball spinners on DH Labs website. It's a cool Christmas gift. So, yeah. So, all right. So a couple things that I've learned, right? The biggest thing that I learned is that there's no such thing as a 2-in-1 move in league as a two-handed bowler. When I was one-handed, I would make a lot 1-in-1, 2-in-1 all the time. As a two-handed bowler, since my rev rate is so much higher now, like there's really no such thing. Like I cannot be afraid of making full zone moves two-handed. Zone meaning an entire arrow. So if the ball goes a little bit high and I need to creep left, it's like a full arrow. It's not, and again, this is just on a house shot. On a sports shot, some of these micro moves are more than fine, right? I'm strictly talking on a house shot. So what I learned and what I wish I knew going into it was, don't be afraid to make that big move, full jump or full zone left, shape it more because you have the rev rate to do so. I kind of learned that the hard way. Made a couple like 2-in-1 moves that just kept going high, and then another 2-in-1 move still went high. It just wasn't enough. And it's going to be situational, but in general, the moves are significantly larger as a two-handed player versus a one-handed player. Another thing that I wish I knew going into this, and I think I would have switched sooner had I known this, is that okay, we all know that the rev rate was going to go up, but my speed also went up. And I guess that this is different for everyone. This is obviously a case-by-case basis. I know plenty of people that try to go from one-handed to two-handed and their speed plummets, and that's the reason why they end up going back to one-handed, because now their rev rate is 450, but they're throwing the ball 11 miles an hour. For me, my ball speed went from like 14 miles an hour to 16 miles an hour immediately. So had I known that sooner, that's definitely something that I would have transitioned into a two-handed type player significantly earlier. One thing that I kind of knew but didn't really know was how much harder it would be to shoot spares two-handed. I know that that's just because I'm a brand new two-handed player. Eventually my accuracy is gonna become just as good as it was one-handed. But man, it has been the biggest struggle so far has been shooting spares. Look, from the time I'm shooting this video, last week in league, I left 4 10-pins and I shot them all two-handed and I made them all. But like the little things, like I used to hook at the 3-6-10, like just barely hook at it. Now I really can't do that anymore. Now I have to use my spare ball for everything. And I've had people make comments on YouTube saying, well, why don't you just throw your spares one-handed like Darren Tang does, for example. But for me, it was very hard going from throwing it two-handed to then putting my thumb in the ball and then going back to throwing two-handed. And yeah, Darren does it, but Darren is also like one of the best bowlers in the world. So it's a very tough comparison to make between Darren and myself, right? So that's been a struggle. I wish I would have dedicated more dedicated spare practice but which is something I'm doing now, and I'm actually going to do today after I'm done filming, is shoot a bunch of spares. So spares have been very, very hard. The spray and pray has been real, and it's tough because everyone thinks that going two-handed is easy when it's really not. Everyone thinks it's easy for me because I feel like I'm a natural two-handed player, but it's not an easy transition. Like going from one-handed to two-handed is not an easy thing. It's a different game altogether. The timing is different. The mechanics are different. It's different. And I wish that I would have prepared a little bit more in that regard, like the spray and pray, because when I miss right by 5 or 6, as an example, with my thumb in the ball, that was like never gonna strike ever. Two-handed, if I miss 5 or 6, like a lot of times it just comes back and strikes. So the spray and pray is real. I wish I would have dedicated more time working on my accuracy before I fully committed to going two-handed. So yes. Also, the one-handed mentality has been a really big issue. I wish I would have known that going into it, right? And what I mean by that is, like, for me, maybe not the one-handed mentality, but my version of one-handed bowling, right? I had really bad ball roll one-handed, so I could never really move in and shape the ball. And that kind of carried over into my two-handed game. And look, you can say whatever you want about being a two-handed player or being a two-handed bowler, literally whatever you want. But the facts are the facts are the facts. My ball roll's better, my rev rate's better, my timing's better, right? But the trauma or the PTSD of not being able to move in was real, right? So it's like, what I wish I would have known is commit mentally and forget about all the mishaps of being a one-handed bowler. Also, bowling straight has been very relative because there's been times where I'm throwing urethane and I'm standing like 21, 22 and I feel like I'm playing super, super straight. But when I was one-handed and I was throwing urethane and I was playing straight, I'm standing like 5 or 6, like really, really playing straight. So that's been kind of a fun little transition. Another thing that I wish I would have known, going back to urethane, is just how much more important urethane bowling balls are as a two-handed player than as a one-handed player. For me, right? This is strictly my point of view, my frame of reference, not maybe yours or the masses or anything. But urethane went from like, yeah, I'll bring it to some tournaments, I'll bring it to like nationals, I'll bring it to like the short pattern stuff, to all of a sudden like it's a mandatory slot in the bag. Like Purple Hammer, 100% mandatory, must be in the bag regardless of the pattern length. I've thrown it on 33 feet, I've also thrown it on 47 feet. Like a 47-foot pattern, one-handed, I would have never brought urethane ball ever. Now it's like an absolute staple, absolute must-have. And I think that's it. Look, I'm not reading any notes or anything. I'm just going strictly off the top of my head. I'm trying to think of what else I wish I knew. Layouts. I wish I would have knew more about layouts, two-handed, because as a one-handed player, my go-to layout was like a 30 by 4.5 by 30, so a 4.5-inch pin. Well, transitioning into two-handed, a 4.5-inch pin is way too strong. I drilled like one ball with a 4.5-inch pin and it way too strong. Then I pushed it to 5, and a 5-inch pin has been really good on the weaker stuff, like Scorpion Low Flare, the Road Warrior 5-inch pin has been good. But like I drilled a 5-inch pin on an Attention Star S2, way too strong. On the Hammer Effect Tour, mostly too strong. So I wish I would have started with a little bit weaker layouts. Actually, later today, I don't want to tell you what ball it is because it's not even announced yet. But I am throwing a 5.5-inch pin ball, bigger asymmetric ball. So I'm hoping that this 5.5-inch pin is a little bit better. But yeah, that's something I wish I for sure knew ahead of time because, yeah, the layout situation has been a little funky. I wish I knew more about 2LS layouts as well. Going into that, yeah. I think that's it now. I know that as soon as I stop recording, it's going to be like, oh yeah, this and this and this. If I think of anything else, maybe I'll add it. I'll record a quick video at home or anything. But let me know in the comments, for those of you who have gone from one-handed to two-handed, what are some of the things that you wish you would have known ahead of time? And then let me know in the comments, and then we'll see you tomorrow on another Vlogmas video for 2024.